All right, guys, welcome to Country Camper. Today we're going to be going over the 2020 Coachmen Catalina. We're going to touch base on all the little things that it has to offer and the operation of all the appliances and anything else that goes on in the trailer. Starting in the front of the trailer, for leveling front to back and hitching and unhitching off the truck, you have your power tongue jack with a light on it. So this light is going to give you some nighttime kind of guidance for hitching and unhitching. Your retract and extend is going to be on the left-hand side of the switch. So again, that's going to give you your leveling front to back, and it's going to give you the hitching and unhitching from your truck. You have your 7-way cord right here. So this is going to give you your lights and your brakes. You have your coupler lock right here, so once you get onto the ball, that's going to lock it into place. A pin will go right through here to assure that it's not going to come up during travel. You have 2 safety chains that are going to be there just in case something happens and the truck comes away from the trailer. It's going to kind of cradle that and allow it to stay with the truck. You have a plastic 20-pound propane tank cover right here. So this has a flap in the front that's going to lift up and allow access to turn the propane tanks on and off. So same tanks as a grill. Right's going to close, turning it left is going to open. Auto changeover regulator, so if one tank goes empty, as long as you have the other one on, it's going to start pulling from that one. So if you know you're getting low on one tank, make sure the other one is on. You have red and black, so your power and ground for your 12-volt system. That's going to hook onto your battery. It's going to give you your 12-volt backup power if you're at a campground, or if you're doing dry camping, it's going to give you your really your only power source to feed the trailer. So your 12-volt battery is going to go in the front. If you are hooking up to a campground, that one 12-volt battery should do enough for you. If you guys are doing the dry camping, you may want to look into creating a battery bank. So that should about wrap up the front of the trailer. We can move on to the back. Coming around the corner, you're going to have an info sticker up here. It's going to have your VIN, the weight ratings for the axles, the tires. Down below here, you're going to have a compartment door. So you're going to have your thumb latch here, your 751 key right here. So that should be on your key ring. You're going to have your compartment door latch, which is going to grab the door just like that. Inside here, we have a crank for our stabilizer jack. So you have 2 front, 2 rear stabilizer jacks. Now they're there for stability. They're not there for leveling the trailer, and they're not there for lifting the trailer off the ground. So as soon as they make contact with the ground, you see the trailer start to rise just a little bit. That's pretty much where you're capped at, and that's what they're rated for. Starting at the top, you have your shower faucet hanger right here. So you have about 3 feet of hose. This compartment right here is going to be your 751 key as well. So this is going to come out. It's going to go up to here. So if you guys need to rinse anything off, if you have a cat you want to rinse off, a dog you want to rinse off, rinse your feet off, either or, you have hot and cold water right here. Above that on the left is going to be your black tank flush. So when you're dumping and you have access to hooking a hose up to this flush, it's going to be very critical that you do in fact use that. So the hose will hook up to here, the water's going to go on, you're going to come down to your sewer outlet, pull the black valve, and just allow that fresh water going into the tank, because this is a direct feed into that black tank. It's going to help flush the tank out, keep it as clean as possible, and kind of keep those tank sensors reading right. The holding tanks in these have probe sensors in them, so if the tanks stay dirty for too long, the debris in there is going to dry up and start to cloud and harden over those sensors, and then ultimately you're not going to have a tank that reads right. So using the black tank flush is going to be crucial for kind of keeping the smell down and keeping the tanks reading right. To the right of that, you have your city water connection. So same 3/4 inch fresh water hose is going to hook up to here, and use a water regulator to help step that pressure down, because some campgrounds, even some houses, have water pressure that's kind of too high for these. They're rated for a certain PSI before you start to see what kind of water leaks bleeding from the fittings. So this is going to be your continuous water at the campground, and more so never ending. So down here at your sewer outlet, you can see you have 2 gray handles, and then kind of tucked behind here going down is going to be your black tank. So this cap for travel is going to stay on. When you're ready to dump, you can unlock it and kind of just let it flow over the back, gives you room to get the hose on there. But always do your black tank first, and then you, like I was saying, use your flush. Black tank is strictly just the waste from the toilet. The gray is soap and water. So rule of thumb, dirtiest stuff, then the cleanest. The gray water, being soap and water, is going to flush your hoses out and keep them as clean as possible from dumping. Make sure you're using the correct toilet paper when it comes to camping, and keep up with your holding tank chemicals. If you guys are using a 10-ply household toilet paper, you're gonna find yourself getting it clogged probably fairly quickly. If you're using the RV toilet paper, it breaks down pretty quickly as soon as it hits water, so that way it can flush all out. If you use the wrong toilet paper, you go to pull that valve and the tank says full, you may get nothing out because you already have a clog. So make sure you use the right toilet paper and keep up with the holding tank chemicals. So if you guys can see under the trailer on the right hand side over there, that's going to be your fresh tank drain I was telling you about. And that red and blue line coming over there with the caps is going to be your low point drains. So if your trailer's sitting and you guys aren't using it for a time, go ahead and drain your freshwater system so that water doesn't sit in there and become stagnant. So like this trailer here, it has a separate gray tank for the rear kitchen. So you're gonna have a standalone sewer outlet. So there's a couple things that you could do with this, you guys. If you're sitting on a seasonal site, then you'll definitely wanna hard plumb everything together. If you guys do week-long trips and you don't wanna keep switching the hoses off and you have multiple hoses that you can use, you'll have one hose here, one hose on the front one. You guys will buy a Y and then a separate hose to go into wherever you're dumping. But again, there's a standalone for the gray. You can see the one gray handle, so all you're going to do is pull that whenever you can, or if you're hooked up to a seasonal site, with this being gray, technically you could probably leave it open all the time, but with the food going down the sink, it's probably something that you guys are going to want to keep closed, so that way you can build up all that water in the tank, and then when it comes time to dump, everything flows out at once. To the left of the slide out here, you can see we have our cable and satellite hookup. So if you're at the campground, you have a line coming in. It's going to feed right into here, and it's going to give you your cable to the inside or the outside cable jack. So one of the biggest maintenance things on these trailers, or anything trailer related, is going to be your bearings, your brakes, tires, etc. Anything to do with the axles, you really want to make sure you maintain. Once a year, 12,000 miles, if you guys are towing this thing regularly, or even if you're out west where it's really hot, you may find yourself needing to get your bearings and your axles serviced quicker, because the grease starts to burn up at a higher rate with the temperature increase. So again, once a year, 12,000 miles. The bearing maintenance is huge on these. Inspecting the brakes, especially on a new trailer, you want to make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do. I see a lot of times where people neglect to do their bearings, and 2 years down the road, they have some serious problems. So please make sure you keep up with the maintenance on your axles. So at the back of the trailer, starting at the top, you have your marker lights. You are prepped for a rear camera, so if you guys want to add that feature, it's a couple screws that you have to remove. The Furion camera will plug in, and away you go. You have your exhaust fan for your range right here. This is going to vent out if you guys are doing any cooking. So back here is going to be your refrigerator vent. So as far as venting goes for the fridge, it's a big part of cooling on this system. So the air is going to come in through the bottom here and vent out through the top. Removing this to check for any kind of nests or spider webs, you just twist these two tabs so they're going vertical, and then pull it out. This is the back of the fridge. You have a 120 volt plug right here, so it's going to plug into an outlet. Any spider webs that you see, it's pretty crucial that you guys remove those as quickly as possible. Even if you see bees or anything coming in here, you want to keep this as free of any congestion, because you do have an open flame right here, so it's a big safety aspect of it. And insects love to go towards where the smell of propane is, so always keep this area as clean as possible. And again, putting this back on, it's going to slip into place. It's going to sit down in the channel. Those two tabs will push in and then twist, and that's ready for travel. Right here, this is going to be your shore cord plug. So you have a 50 amp shore cord with this trailer that's going to push in and twist, and then you have a lock ring that's going to thread on right here, and that cap can come down just like that. This little black cap here is going to be for your fresh tank fill. So if you guys are doing that dry camping and you need to take water with you, that hose is going to go into here. Make sure your drain cap for your drain for the tank is on. Put the hose in, turn the water on, and you can watch the monitor panel inside the trailer, and you're going to be able to see where your levels are at for this. And then once you're done, cap goes on, locks in place, and you're ready for travel. The drain plug for it, kind of the rule of thumb for the drain plug for the fresh tanks, is right under the trailer in the general area of where the fill is. So if you guys are looking for it, look for a blue line with a cap or a valve on it that's kind of standing alone, and that's going to be your fresh tank drain. Spare tire for the trailer is in the back right here, so if you guys ever need it, it's just a tire cover, a couple nuts that hold it on, and then it'll pop off. On the door side of the trailer, in the rear, you're going to have a little compartment right here. So again, thumb latch, 751P, and your compartment door holder. This little mini fridge here is strictly 120 volts. It's not going to be like the fridge inside where it's a two-way where it runs off 12-volt gas. This one's strictly going to run when you're hooked up to shore power. Your water heater right here. This trailer comes with a Suburban water heater, so you're going to have that 9-inch anode rod inside for your drain plug. It's more so a sacrificial rod because it's a steel tank, and the rod itself is what's going to sacrifice itself instead of the tank. You have your relief valve at the top right here, your 2 high limit resets right here, your gas valve, all the exhaust is going to burn out through here, your electrode for igniting it on propane, and then back behind this black cover is going to be your heating element. And then on these Suburban tanks, when it has the option for 120 volt heat, you're going to have a little black master switch in the bottom left hand corner of this, and you want to make sure that that's on when you're hooked up to 120 volts, and you want to make sure that there's water in your tank. If you flip this on and this is the only switch for 120 volts heating for this, and the tank's empty, you're going to burn the heating element out very quickly. Over here you have your leash link, so this is going to be really if you want to tie any kind of pet or really anything you want to hook onto here. That's what this is there for. So on the Catalinas, when they have those through frame slides, you're going to have the crank just like this, the holes in the J-wrap, and it's going to be to manually retract or extend your slide outs if you get in a bind. So the jack would go through here onto the bolt head that sticks out of the frame, and you're going to crank it just like your jacks, and it's going to extend or retract your slide outs. So right here is going to be your furnace exhaust. Down below is going to be the exhaust where the really hot stuff is coming out of, and you don't want to put anything in front of this, no tables or anything when that's running. You don't want to block the air going in, but you definitely don't want to block the air going out because it's hot and it'll melt any sort of plastic or almost a fire risk if you put anything in front of there. So just be mindful when that's running that you don't have anything in front of there, and really you don't want to sit or stand in this general area and breathe in those fumes. Coming back over here, you have your 120 volt outlet right here, so this will work when you're hooked up to the shore power. If you're running off the battery, this will not work. You have your cable outlet right here, so this jack is going to be more so a supply. So if you want to set a TV up out here, you have your outlet and your cable jack right here. Your power awning is going to go all the way down and up and across, so it's going to cover just about all the trailer for you to sit under there and kind of get out of the sun. So once you get all set up, you're ready to make your way into the trailer. First thing is you have your helper handle right here. Now this will store either way, but I like to see it stored kind of over the door like that, because if you don't lock the door and you hit a bump, the door pops open, this is going to kind of be there to keep it in place. So if you guys get somewhere and the ground's a little uneven and you need to adjust the legs on the stairs, there's a pin on the right and a pin on the left. All you have to do is pull the pin out. There's no threading or anything. It's just a little quick pin. Pull it out and adjust the feet however you need to, and then the stairs will come back down and make contact with the ground. It also may be a good idea to keep some blocks just in case it is really unlevel and you need some extra footing. So your last storage compartment on the outside of the trailer is going to be this front door side one. Same thing, it's going to lift up, latch into place. You have your crank right here for those stabilizer jacks, and then the manual cranks for the slides. Now your front bedroom one is going to be right through the side skirting right here. So same thing as the rear, it's going to go in, you're going to crank it in or crank it out, whichever one you need. And then one of the cool things about these new Dometic awnings is they're starting to put an attachment on the arm with power in it. And there's attachments for speakers, spotlights like this one comes with, charging docking stations, and there is a pitch adjustment on it, a power button on it, and it will run off of 12 volts, so it'll run off your battery if you need it to. And if you can see here that there is a little pressure plate right here that's gonna hold it into place once you release it. So it's gonna go inside the arm and kind of twist and lock into place like that. And then you can take it and adjust it however you need to. Straight ahead when you walk into the trailer, you're gonna have your control panel. So you're gonna have your monitor panel with the buttons that are gonna read on 4 LED lights. So you have your fresh tank, your battery, black 1, black 2, and your grays. Now you only have 1 black, so you're only gonna read on that black one, but you do have 2 gray tanks, 1 for the bathroom and 1 for the kitchen. So those are, again, are gonna read on that 4 LED light scale. So battery will read there, and then your tanks will read there. Here you have the switch for your water heater. So this is gonna be switched gas only. Electric, again, was outside. Gas is inside. You have your water pump right here. So that's gonna pull from that fresh tank. So check where your levels are for your fresh tank, and then you can flip your pump on. It's gonna be like you're hooked up to city water, and it's gonna give you that continuous feed as if you're at the campground. But obviously you're limited to whatever that tank's capacity is. You have an interior light switch right here. You have your exterior LED switch right here. You have your 2 slide out switches right here, 1 for the bedroom and 1 for your main living area. They're both rocker switches, so you hold them in to bring them in, hold out to bring them out. Your awning, same rules apply. So you're gonna go extend and hold it to bring it out, and retract to bring it in. Now your awning is there for sun and shade, not wind and rain. For your entertainment center, you have your TV right here. It's gonna be linked to your radio/DVD player right here through an HDMI cable. So the HDMI cable will plug into the back on the wall and then to the back of the TV. You have your cable and satellite hookup as well, which is a feed to the TV. And then below that, your 120 volt outlet to power the TV. You have your TV remote right here, which is the big long one, and then your radio/DVD remote, which is the smaller and thinner one. So the radio, now there's 2 speaker zones on this. So you have zone 1 and zone 2. So zone 1 will be your inside, zone 2 will be the outside. So you are able to run them both at the same time, or one or the other. If it's late at night, you guys are watching a movie and you don't want to annoy the neighbors, you can shut that off and just use one zone. You have your volume control, your USB, headphones, and an auxiliary port. So if you want to plug a aux cord in there, or it's a Bluetooth radio, so you can link your phone to it and also do it that way. Below there is your second fireplace. Again, it's 120 volts, so you got to be hooked up to a shore power in order for that to work. There's no propane or anything involved with that. It is great for getting the chill out of the trailer, especially if you have 2 like this trailer does. Below that and to the left, you just have some storage cabinets right there. Great for anything extra like movies or cleaning supplies, anything like that. Your pull-out bed and the slide-out. So you have these 2 throw pillows that will need to be removed. So you can just store those wherever, and then you have your 2 removable cushion backs that will need to be removed as well. And then you'll lift up on the bottom of it as well, and it's gonna pop up like this. You'll have 2 legs that you'll need to get a hold of, slide them out just like this, pop them down, they'll make contact with the floor, and then your old seat back is now gonna become the head of your mattress. So that's gonna push down into place. You put your blankets and your pillows back over it, and then you can use it for a bed. When you're done using it for a bed, go ahead, flip it up, come back to where the feet are, and you'll lift up, slide the legs back in, and you'll drop it down, it'll go back into place. And then your 2 cushions, which are a left and a right, they'll only go one way, will sit just like that. Your 2 windows by the sofa. This one is a fixed window, no open. This one is a sliding window, same style lock as in the bedroom, and then it will slide and then it'll close. And then you have a kind of fixed shade. So wherever you put it, that shade will stay. Same thing throughout the trailer, other than the blinds behind the bed and by the cooktop. So with the recliners in the trailer, they're both going to operate the same way. So when your setup slides open and you want to get ready to use these, go ahead and position them however you'd like. And then to recline in them, you're going to put 2 hands on the armrest like this. You can even put your legs up like this to make sure they really go back. And then you're going to press and use your back and arms to allow it to kick up. And then that's going to be the first stage of it. And if you want to go even further back to recline and take a nap, you can go all the way back. And then same thing in reverse to close it up, and then you're all done. Right now this dinette bench is kind of set up into the bed, but when you're done using it as a bed and you want to put it back into that dinette table, you're going to take your cushions out from the middle, put them back into their respective places, and then this table you can kind of just lift up towards the back and get a grip on it, move the cushions out of the way, and then you can spin it back around. You have two little legs that will go into the floor cups, just like that. Make sure they're in all the way, and then you're going to take your table, flip it around, and just kind of eye it into place, so that way it sits in the cups just like it does in the floor and up top. So now that it's in place, give it a press so it's in position, and now you're ready to use your dinette as a table. Below each bench, you have some storage cabinets, so anything kind of that you don't need access to right away, you can throw under there. And you have access from the sides or the tops if it's something that won't fit through the front cabinet door. You have another fixed window here, and then you have another sliding window right here, same size as the one behind the sofa. Over here in the kitchen, you have your right pantries, top and bottom. You have a 120 volt outlet down there. And then over here, you have your refrigerator with some storage up above it. So top is your freezer, bottom is your refrigerator. So this is a Norcold fully automatic fridge. So to turn it on, you're just gonna tap that power button just like that. You'll see the light kick on. It's gonna know we're hooked up to 120 volts, so it's gonna run on 120 volts. If we were sleeping in the middle of the night at the campground, or even if we're outside having a good time and the campground loses power and we don't know, it's automatically gonna kick over to run on propane. So make sure your battery is on and charged, and make sure that your propane is on so nothing in the fridge spoils. If you wanna shut it off, all you're gonna do is hold your finger on the power button and then let off, and it shuts itself off. Coming over here to the other side of the fridge, you have your 120 volt microwave. So just like at home, you gotta be hooked up to 120 volts. You have your 12 volt Furrion range fan right here. So you have light, and then you have your fan. Your cooktop has a travel glass top. So when you're traveling, make sure it's down. And when you're ready to use or camp, you're safe to flip it up. But again, when you're traveling, make sure that it's down, so that way when you get to where you're going, you don't walk in and see it broken. You have a up and down light switch here, so it's kind of a two-way switch. So when it's up on the one position, you have your top burner lights on, the middle is off, and when you go down, it's going to be your top lights, and then your oven light is going to be on as well. So shutting it off is in the middle, and when you're ready to light your burners on the top, it's going to be these three burners right there. You're going to turn it to the flame. It has an igniter on the left-hand side that you're going to just continuously click until the top burner lights. And then when you're done with it, shut it off. For your oven, you're going to turn it to the flame on the top, press that in, and hold it, and then you're going to use your same igniter on the left-hand side and just keep lighting it until the pilot down in the very back you see is lit, and then you can let off, and then you can turn your dial to any temp that you want to cook at. So as a reminder, cooktop, anytime you step away, it could be a safe idea to fold it down. Below here you have your 120 volt breakers and your 12 volt fuses. So again, breakers on the left hand side, and then your 12 volt system fuses on the right hand side. Down at the floor by the breakers and the fuses is going to be one of your heating ducts. So the heating system vents through the floor, and then your AC system will vent through the ceiling. Coming back around over here, you have your upper cabinet space and then your lower cabinet space, and then you also have a little extra counter space if you have your sink covers on or they're removable. Either way is fine. You have a sprayer faucet right here, so it comes out and then you can spray your dishes, and then it goes back up into place. Hot and cold on a single style faucet. you have your 120 volt pop-up outlet right here, as well as some 12 volt USBs below there. So that is a great little feature to have, and then pack it away when you're not using it. You have a light above your faucet, and then you have your blinds as well. So if you want to get a little extra light in here, you can set your blinds up. Front of the trailer here up in the bedroom, you have your front closet on the left hand side. So you have your clothes hanger bar right here, your 2 shelves, and then your floor storage in there. You have 2 sliding glass mirror doors. So when you're travel, make sure they're slid over all the way on both sides and lashed onto the plastic clips. This front closet right here, this is going to be your washer dryer prep. You also have access to it from the outside, so that front storage compartment, you're going to have access to it right there. So anything that you think you'll need from the outside or the inside, good spot to throw here. Or again, it's going to be your washer dryer prep, and you'll have your stackable or your combo in here. You also have a shelf up on the top here, so any small things that you want to throw up on top, like an extra pair of shoes or anything, feel free to throw them up there. The bedroom slide is going to have an emergency exit window right there. So this red lever is going to snap down out of the track, and then the rod will push out. You'll pull this red tab there, the screen will come out, and then you'll make your way out through the window. And then for traveling, latch it back in, and away you go. Your blind has a string hanger right here, so when it's down or even up, you can wrap it around this hanger right here and get them from out from around the pillows and stuff like that. You have 2 nightstands and 2 USB charging ports right there. You also have storage under the bed, so the bed will lift up and then go back down, but just be careful with what you put under there, because when the slide comes in, it will end up hitting anything that's under the bed. At the foot of the bed on the other side of the bedroom, you have 2 vertical sliding windows. So you have a latch right here. It's a little butterfly latch, so you'll push it one way to latch and then push it the other open, so it's going to slide up. It's going to lock on these 2 tabs right here. When you're ready for it to go down, you just push the tabs over and the window will come down, go into place, and then you'll latch it to lock it. You have your above cabinet storage here, location for the TV. Wires will go through this little chase right there, and then you have your cable jack and your 120 volt outlet right there. You have 2 fireplaces in this trailer. You have 1 in the bedroom and 1 in the living room. You have a remote that comes with it. It's 120 volts, so there's no propane involved on this. You just need to make sure you're hooked up to shore power, and you can point your remote at it. You have a high and low setting for the fan in there, and then other little features as far as setting the temp, a timer, etc. So you can look into it by reading the manual, and it'll go more in depth for you. And then below there you have more storage space under the fireplace. Right when you walk into the bedroom to the left, you have your on and off switch for the ceiling lights, and then you'll notice right above here you kind of have a dummy plate or cover plate, and you're probably wondering what that's for. Well, you have a circuit ran for a second AC in the front of the trailer for the bedroom, so you'll have a cover plate up there as well for the outlet, and then your 14x14 vent where that AC will stand, and here's where your thermostat will go for that kind of second zone in the trailer. Like for things that fit, you have your vanity right here, so hot and cold, your sink stop right there. You have your GFI outlet on the wall right there, so that's going to be your reset point if it ever trips. And then you have a little bit of storage under that vanity right there. Heating duct in the floor by my feet. Access panel to under the shower, so every once in a while feel free to pull those screws, check to make sure the trap is tight and nothing appears to be leaking under there. Your shower doors have a travel latch on them, so when you're traveling they won't come loose, and when you're ready to use them, go ahead and flip that up, and then all 3 glass slides will slide freely. On the other side of them, you can see you have your faucet right there, so you have your hot and your cold, and then you have your hose and the shower head, and then leading up to the ceiling you have your skylight and your AC exhaust or vent into the bathroom. Down at the floor level by my feet, you have your toilet right here, so it's going to be a foot pedal flush. So when you're ready to use it and fill the bowl, you press down a little bit, it's going to start to fill the bowl when you're hooked up to water, and then you press down all the way to flush anything that's in the bowl. And a reminder, that's where your holding tank chemicals are going to go down, all the toilet paper. So keep up with putting the holding tank chemicals down in there. It's going to keep up with the smell and kind of help everything breaking down. Over here you have your linen closets, and then some lower storage there. So anything you can store in there and fit, you're more than welcome to. On the right hand side when you walk in, you have your ceiling light switch. Top in the ceiling, you have your manual lift up vent, so it's going to crank to the right to go up, crank to the left to go down. You have your little switch right here, so that's going to kick your exhaust fan on. So when you're showering or using the bathroom, you can go ahead and flip that fan on, so that way you're circulating the air in here. Your thermostat for your rear and main HVAC system is going to be your temp select, 55 to 90, and then down here is going to be your system switch. So you have cool, which is your AC, your fan, which is the fan for the AC. Those are both 120 volts required to use, and then you have off and then heat. Heat being your furnace, which is 12 volt and will run off propane, and then you have your AC fan select right here. So you have your auto high and low, or just your on high and low. So that's going to be the basic rundown of the thermostat. Again, make sure that your propane is on for your heat and you're hooked up to 120 volts for your cool or your fan. The last things to touch on is going to be kind of the roof maintenance and the way you check your seals. So regularly you're going to want to walk your roof, check your sealant, make sure it's not drying out and cracking, make sure nothing's fallen on the roof and punctured holes in the rubber. If you're parking under a lot of trees on a seasonal site or even at home, you really want to regularly get up on that roof and make sure no damage has been caused by any branches. Another thing to check is going to be your side moldings, your compartment moldings here, latches, lights, anything that's going to have sealant around it. You want to make sure that you're checking it regularly for cracks. If there is anything, go ahead and touch that up with any kind of rated sealant for the application, and you should be good to go. So that about wraps up the Catalina. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call. All right, thanks.